Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're back doing another Ixalan Intermediate Swiss Draft League. Alright. Mavrin Fane. Can take that. Unfortunately, a few other good vampire cards in here. Call to the Feast, Inspiring Cleric, the Paladin. But I think we still take Mavrin Fane. Pretty good token generator. Pretty good card. Alright. Follow-up pick. Take the Glorifier. It's fine. I like Seeker Squire. Steadfast Armsar's very good card too, even outside of dinosaurs. I think the strongest card in the pack is probably the Armsar. But I can take the Glorifier because it does work pretty well with Mavrin Fane, especially given that you can give it flying and whatnot. It's not a very exciting second pick, but it is an uncommon. It's a pretty strong card. We'll take it. Goes right over top and kills. Another one? Well, now I might maybe just want the Inspiring Cleric. There's also Mark of the Vampire, which is exceptionally good. I really like the Cleric a lot. Mark of the Vampire has never really failed me, though. Thing is, if I'm in... God, we're getting past all these vampires, too. This is tough. Even the Skyblade's pretty premium alongside a Mavrin Fane. So I don't think we're taking Glorifier. It's Inspiring Cleric, Mark of the Vampire, or Skyblade of the Legion. The reason to take the Mark of the Vampire is there's really only one vampire archetype, and that is black-white. But Inspiring Cleric gaining 4 life is certainly not irrelevant. That's pretty big in your standard races. I really want the Mark of the Vampire, though, too. This card is so good. I feel like if I don't start cutting vampires, though, other people are definitely going to go vampires. So let's take the Cleric. Still gains a lot of life. Good in racing situations. Wow. I'm going to take the Wanted Scoundrel here. This card is super strong. We're taking it over a couple vampire cards. But 2-drop 4/3. And yes, it has a downside, but this card will finish games. Good early, good late. Strong card. Whoa. Double Sword Point Diplomacy? That's kind of crazy. It's also Queen's Commission in here. I think this card's actually okay. The Sword Point Diplomacy. It's not bad. It's better than it looks. I don't know, maybe some people think it actually looks good, but I found it kind of looks to be a card where you basically reveal 2 lands and a bomb spell, and then your opponent just pays 3 life, gets rid of the bomb spell, and you get 2 lands. But I found it can definitely be better than that. I'd probably still take the Queen's Commission. We want to get as many vampire cards as we can, even though that one technically doesn't work that well with Mavrin Fane. There are plenty of vampire synergies we're going to look for here. So we can take the Steadfast Armsar now. It's definitely strong, but I think we may want the Skyblade. The problem is the Skyblade, and there's Bright Reprisal, although that's less of an aggro card. So the reason we want the Skyblade is we get to go Skyblade into Mavrin Fane, and that is very strong. So we want to set up our... We want to get as many vampire cards as possible and set up as many synergies as possible. So I'm taking the Skyblade over a couple good white cards there, but good white, specifically vampires, have just been flowing. Like I said, someone else is going to go into vampires too. There's no way to avoid that. There's just like way too many good vampires were opened in these packs. I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but certainly some people tend to think, no, don't take that card because you missed this card in the previous pack, so someone else already went into that archetype. I think people who have that mentality in draft, I think they're overthinking what's going on. You can't put yourself into someone else's perspective that much. Like, you do have to draft a plan. Focus on your plan. Don't worry too much about, no, I maybe put somebody else in that archetype. Don't worry about that. You're making your deck. Don't worry about what their deck is. Like, Obviously, you want to avoid some signaling, bad signaling that is, but if you can't avoid it, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I don't think Pillar of Origins is that good. Heartstopper on the other hand, pretty good. We already have a couple ways to evade right over top. I don't know, I found the Heartstopper to be pretty good in general. Here we can take the Hoarder. Can trade early and then ramp. It's a pretty good card. Taking it over Sunrise Seeker, which is also deceptively good. 3/3 or 4/4 Vigilance with the Explorer. Pretty nice. But we'll take the Hoarder. Okay. Pretty nice opportunity to pick up the Paladin here, which I've actually found to be pretty good. Here I think I'm going to take Sunrise Seeker over the Encampment Keeper. Encampment Keeper I can actually see being good with your little tokens, but well, maybe I could see it. Yeah, I guess we've got the... I think Sunrise Seeker in a vacuum is a much better card, but I guess because we've already got some token generation, it probably makes sense to take the Encampment Keeper, like the Paladin, the Maverick Fane, the Queen's Commission. But it's a pretty underwhelming card in general. I'm going to cut the black card here. One of the problems of going into, once again, one of the problems, I've talked about this since like the beginning of the format, with going into vampires, with going into merfolk, you have one color combination, that's it. You go into any of the other ones, I get a Seeker anyway, you go into pirates, you go into dinosaurs, you get options at your disposal. You go into vampires, you go into merfolk, your options are very, very limited. Well, what's better than one Encampment Keeper? Probably 0 Encampment Keepers is better than one. We'll let somebody have a Demolish. So we only got 3 black cards. Plenty of white though, so I imagine we've successfully carved ourselves into white, which is good. Picked up some good vampires along the way. I think we're already up to like 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Pretty good vampire count to start it off. Be nice to see another vampire rare. Currently removal less. We do have a Death Toucher, but no removal, so gonna have to try and change that if possible. Okay, so here we probably take the Deathless Ancient. Good synergistic vampire card. Taking over Vanquish the Weak, which is removal, which we're looking for, but I think the Deathless Ancient a little more in line with what we want to do. Evade to generate vampires, use our vampires to bring it back if it dies. Pretty versatile little card. Good value. Not too expensive for you get. 6 mana 4/4 flyer is not premium, but the ability makes it pretty premium. Ah, Admiral Beckett Brass. Pretty cool card. You know, I think it's a good card. I mean, obviously we're not taking it. We're going to take this Pious Interdiction. Because, like I said, we have 0 pieces of removal. I'd like to wield a Skybladed Legion. Pretty good in this deck. But taking Pious Interdiction, passing the Mythic Admiral. Good card, though. Lord effect and that ability is deceptively good. It's kind of confusing because a lot of things have to happen. You gain control of a non-land permanent controlled by a player who was dealt combat damage by 3 or more pirates this turn. Now the player has to be dealt combat damage. Or, no, the control by a player... Okay, so the player has to be dealt damage by 3 or more. A lot of things have to happen. But it does steal things, and it's a Lord effect, so what more can you ask for? Okay. Now, we probably take the Bloodletter. Another evasive vampire. Good with Maverick Fane. Flies right over top. The little drain effect is totally relevant. Especially since I always seem to get my opponent to 1 life. There's also another Paladin here. Ruthless Knave is fine too. I'm still just not sold on the Conqueror's Galleon. It's funny too, because the Conqueror's Foothold does have some good abilities on it. Definitely some good abilities, but I just don't like the Galleon. It's like too much for not enough. Too much for not enough. Alright, let's take the bloodletter here pretty happily. Okay, well, a couple pieces of removal in here, but we got to go with the Deacon. We've already got a good, solid vampire base going, and Deacon is pretty perfect for that plan. There's Slash of Talons and Bright Reprisal in here. Bright Reprisal a little bit less good with what we're doing because we're more of a... we kind of look like more of a beatdown deck, but we'll see if we can get the curve down a bit lower. Alright, now we can take the Slash of Talons over a Skittering Heartstopper and get ourselves another piece of removal, which is good. Here, I guess we just take another Hoarder. 2-drop that can get us to our 4 and 5, keeps us busy early, can kind of beat down, trade with stuff. Taking it over Cobbled Wings, which is fine. Hey, Bishop, there we go. Alright. More Vampire Synergy, I like it. Taking it over Slash of Talons, yes, because we have tokens too, so I actually like Bishop quite a bit. So now, probably take the Interloper, totally playable. Not exciting, but it explores. Pretty good. Aerosar versus Judgment. We could end up playing the Aerosar. It does have evasion. It's not a vampire, but we already have some other non-vampires in here. If I were to set aside all my non-vamps, just to sort of get a feel for which ones are the best, which ones are the least exciting. Well, I'm not going to set aside the Hoarders or the Scoundrels because they're cheap, but the Keepers are, even though they're cheap, pretty unexciting. I think we're going to take the Judgment for sideboard because we're removal light. I think out of pack 3, we find a couple more pieces of removal and we're really going to get close to getting there. So let's take the Spreading Rot. But between Pious Interdiction and Slash of Talons, yeah, we get like 2 Vampire Zeal or just a couple tricks, whatever. We're going to be looking pretty good. We're starting to up our vampire count. We didn't get a ton out of that pack, but we got some pretty solid ones. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 vampire cards already. Creatures specifically. I guess 9 creatures, 1 vampire card. But still, very good. Very good. I might be willing to run the Encampment Keeper, but we'll see how pack 3 goes. As of now, we definitely have a very nice... Our curve looks good. Our plan looks good. We've got, like I said, some of the powerful Vampire Synergy cards. Certainly the Maverick Fane. So we're starting to get there. Hey, another Paladin. We're going to take it over the Aerosar. I think Aerosar is actually a deceptively good card. Alright, we'll take the Bright Reprisal. You know, I don't really like it that much for our plan, but we may end up with enough evasion where it ends up being good. Because we do have, like, Deathless Ancient. If you have enough flyers, Bright Reprisal is going to be good. You just fly over top. When they come back, you punish their biggest dude. Get some value. We're going to let our other people in the pod have this stuff. Have at her. Alright. So, we have another Deacon, Conquistador, Emissary of Sunrise. I feel like we probably take another Deacon. It's just good synergy with what we're doing. Even though it does up the curve, it's a good place to start because we have enough. We have some good means of not only flying but getting lifelink vamps, which desperately want to get buffed too. It is another 5-drop, but I think we take it over Emissary. Emissary is a great, really fantastically strong card, but it just, I'd rather go for pure synergy right now because we've got just such a good synergistic base going. I'd really like to kind of keep up the, there we go, wow, getting past Vampire Lord is a gift. Alright, we have a lot of 5-drops now, so I think the Bright Reprisal, and, it's a lot of 5-drops, but we'll take the Bishop. I mean, this card is really good. Inspiring Cleric. There's also Call to the Feast. Both good. So Call to the Feast is going to have better synergy basically with like Deathless Ancient, the Deacons maybe, but the Cleric just straight up gains life. That's tough. Better chance of wheeling the Call to the Feast, although this pack is not super deep, so I think we're not going to wheel either. Would I rather have thing about the cleric and the immediate life gain is that it can really pull you out of some sticky situations. I think I'm going to take the cleric. That's tough. They're both good. They're both really good. And I can't quite put my finger on which one I like more. I feel like just gaining 4 right off the bat when it comes in is actually pretty big, especially in those racing situations. So I don't know which one I like more, but I'm going to take the cleric. Wow. So we have another glorifier. We have the Queen's Agent. These are all good. Seeker Squire. Pretty tempted to perhaps take the Queen's Agent, even though it's another 6-drop. It's a vampire. I found the lifelink to be relevant, and it explores. Otherwise, Glorifier can fly over top, which is good. Queen's Agent's going to work really well with the Deacon as well. Seeker Squire is much cheaper, but I'm going to go with Queen's Agent. This card has actually played well for me, for the most part. So there's a Blight Keeper. I guess we could take. We don't have any raid, really, and mostly unnecessary. This card doesn't seem that relevant either. It's not a vampire. Probably just don't need any. Probably not going to play anything from here. I guess we'll take the Aerosar. Sheltering Light is actually pretty good. It's a 1-mana trick or a protection spell, good for saving our Maverin Fane. Otherwise, we could take yet another vampire. The Paladin's definitely good with the Deacon, too. But we're so removal light, I kind of want to take the Sheltering Light, because we have enough creatures. So the problem is we don't have enough protection. I'm going to take Sheltering Light over Paladin solely because I want some protection. And 1-mana protection is actually very good. Unknown Shore, Spreading Rock, Costly Plunder, Sleek Schooner. That's a late Lightning Rig crew. That card's good. I'm not going to play any of these. I guess we'll take the Schooner. We could just play a 17-land deck. Wow, do I have enough life gain to make the Bloodfast work? I feel like this card's pretty bad, but we have double Inspiring Cleric. This gains life. This can gain us some life. Life gain. Some lifelink. Lifelink. We have quite a bit of life gain. Otherwise, what? I'm taking another Queen's Agent. Or a Bright Reprisal #2. We already have so many 5-drops. I could take this Bloodfast and try it in this deck. I think I'm going to try it. Or think about it, at least. Because I'm not 100%. I'll take another Judgment for sideboard. All the Encampment Keepers. Ritual that I don't need. Seeker. Well, no, I'll take the Cobbled Wings, I guess. So, got a good looking deck. Bishop can return 3 or less too. Geez, that's so good with Cleric. So, is Bloodfast good? I think the answer is no, but do I want to try it out for value because we have enough, possibly have enough lifelink? It's possible. I'm debating it. I'm mulling it over. Guess we'll take the Dryad, whatever. Very removal light deck, but we have a Pious Interdiction, a Slash of Talons, and a Sheltering Light. So, and we have some evasion, so we can definitely win. Even though we are removal light, I think we can definitely win. So, Queen's Commission is technically, I think the only thing we want to cut is probably, oh, I guess we can play the Bright Reprisal too. We probably want to play 17 lands, I think. We've got a lot of 5-drops. Curve gets a little bit high here, so I mean we do have the Hoarders to help us get there, but it makes more sense to me to just cut a couple creatures. Kind of want to run the Heartstopper too, despite not being a vampire, but I don't know. Jeez, we could probably cut the Cobbled Wings. It's nice to just fly over top and win, but I guess we have what? Skyblade, Bloodletter. That's 2. 3, 4 flyers. 4 flyers isn't that many. And like Scoundrel and Cobbled Wings like each other. Cobbled Wings and Mavrenfane like each other a lot too. There's a pretty good argument to just cut 2 creatures here and figure it out from there. Because we have 19 creatures if you include the Queen's Commission. So maybe we cut the Heartstopper, even though we're removal light. And then maybe we cut... I'm trying to think of my worst... If I were to cut a vampire, what's my worst vampire card? My worst vampire card, given that I'm going to run 17 lands. Because that changes things slightly. I kind of want to keep the Bright Reprisal. It gives us actually 4 combination of pieces of removal and tricks with the Sheltering Light / Interdiction Bright Reprisal. Like having 4 pieces is nice. So I'm essentially playing Bloodfast for no other reason other than because I probably have enough life gain to make it work, where I can get some extra cards out of it. Yeah, and if we're running 17 lands, getting extra cards is good. I just don't know. I feel like it's probably wrong to try and play it. I've just been unimpressed with it. I think we may cut it. And this kind of makes this perfect. We have the means to fly over top. Can even equip Mavrenfane himself. Fly over top, make vamps all day, every day. Enough removal, enough evasion, enough early game. We've got the life gain. We've got the value. I think this looks fine to me. So we'll probably do 9-8. See if they agree. They do. So 9-8, vampires. A little bit of a higher curve on some of our stuff, but some powerful stuff in here. Like, I think Mavrenfane is going to work really well, but I think I've been really impressed with Bishop of Rebirth in the format, and I think our top end looks pretty good too. And we have enough like token generation and stuff to keep ourselves alive. So, alright. Yep. Vampire beats. We'll see you round 1.